All right. It is Saturday night. And, it's everybody that we know and love all across YouTube, both in video and in the chat, have been raptured up to that heaven that is called Dallas Fort Worth, to the DFW Toy Show. I can think of a lot of places I'd rather not be during the summer, in the middle of summer, than Dallas Fort Worth. But I guess if you're going to be you got to be there and be trapped in a nice hotel convention center. It's not a bad place to be. So don't know who's going to show up tonight. Just kind of playing this all by ear here. There's a lot of folks that did go, but there's some of us that didn't go, and we're people too, and we deserve some entertainment on a Saturday night. We've grown accustomed to it, and people demand it. So if folks trickle over, hopefully they'll find this entertaining. Also, I put the link to this stream. If anybody would like to hop on with me, I can talk for an hour or so on my own. I just think it's a lot more fun to have somebody with me when I do that. That's normally what I'm used to in my regular show that I do every third Monday of the month. It's I only do this once a month. This is kind of outside that arena. So I've been enjoying doing that. I've got about about 4 more streams to do. I'm going to stop in October because November, that's always very, very busy month as we get into the holidays, especially for what I do for a living. I have a lot of work that gets done in November. Then December, we're back up against the holidays again. So actually finding time to stream or to get guests on kind of gets hard. So I think 10 episodes for my first year is not that bad. Yeah, Robert, just take your time, man. Come on, come on in when you do. So far I'm still waiting on confirmation for my July guest, and then in August I've got the guys from Held Up Toys will be on here, and still working on a September and still working on October with that. Then from there I'm going to kind of review this to see if do I want to spend the money to get the next level of StreamYard to make this interesting and do intro outros kind of more professional, and then also get all this mess and cleaned up. I like all the people that have the nice shelves and the lighting, but I actually have a real life storage room. So I think this is the way most collectors actually look. Most of the rooms actually look a lot like mine. But I mean, try to do something different. You get the background here. I don't know. So we'll just have to see how that works out. So just a few things. Like I said, the world does not stop because the DFW show is going on. The hey K Dog, how you doing? The world hasn't stopped. There's toy news coming out. I've got a couple of things I made note of to talk about. One thing I did. Oh, so today in the mail came. What did I do with that? Where did it go? Oh, here it is. This arrived in the mail today? The haul. And for $24, I'm really impressed with the pieces. I have not put it on my van. I've got 2 Vanguards. I don't know if y'all can see them in the back there. I'm going to be on for probably about, if I don't get a lot of people on, about an hour or so, hour and a half at the most, probably. It's just something to fill, to kill the time, because I know we're used on a Saturday night having a lot of content, with the 3 POA and an after show, and but then then there's always somebody's got something going on. I just made it over from Analog Toys live stream which kind of, in a way frightens me a little bit, about, everybody's on, if you start to YouTube, at some point you start feeling that itch to rush and grow your channel. And it seems like if you grow it to a certain point, you begin inviting more problems. Like I do stuff, like I do my videos, I pull images from places, and I kind of credit under fair use, and and I haven't started doing music yet, but I'm sure once I start trying to do intro music and stuff like that, and probably I got to be very careful how I do that. But probably underneath a certain level, I don't think YouTube kind of pays attention to you. I think once you get up there, and especially once you start monetizing your channel, that's when they really start looking. Yeah, I don't see how it's. I mean, I get it's all done by bots, and the bots have to go through. They listen for snippets, and that's the problem with music is that, I mean, there's only so many notes in the world. And so at some point things sound like I've seen like performers for songs, like popular songs, that they said, yeah, all I did was I took this song from this place and I like slowed it down a half a beat, or I did it, did a thing. So with that, so yeah, cool. Let's see. Hey, Robert, how you doing, man? Uh-oh. He stumbled in my stream and then he froze. You're frozen. Is it me or you?
Hey, I think it was me.
Hey. Okay. How are you doing, man? Listen, this is my favorite curmudgeon of the toy aisle. the herald of the toy apocalypse. I can see you near in front of an abandoned Toys R Us with a sandwich board. The end is nigh. End is nigh.
Yeah, I've been going for that Jack Black look in Minecraft lately, and I think I'm ruining it. So I'm probably going to shave this tomorrow.
Yeah, see, that is one of the things it's weird. I've never really been able to grow facial hair. I've given it a try every once in a while, until it gets itchy and aggravating. But I've never. But my 4 kids that I have, they like grow them in their sleep at night. So I don't know how. If the beard gene skipped me or something like that, and it double crashed on them. So
yeah, my daughter was playing with it this morning, and she was just like grabbing it, and I was like, "Oh, I need to shave, don't I?"
Yeah. So how's everything going?
Going all right, man. How about yourself?
It's going good. Like I said, I got the Vanguard upgrade kit today.
Mine comes Monday.
Yeah. And I'm going to get I've got 2 Vanguards. I got 2 gray Vanguards, and I am going to get a second one for the other one. But I'm only going to put the stuff on the full get up on one of them, because I'm using that one. It's kind of like my, the tactical vehicle. And the other one, I kind of want it to be more like a executive protection, because that Rizvani, that tank is so beautiful. I wish I had one in real life.
Man, when that came out, when the Vanguard came out, I started watching some videos on the Rizvani, and wow, that thing is amazing.
Yeah, and they got like a new. So like I guess when they were first doing the license, that's based on their tank, the Rizvani tank is a Vanguard, and now they don't make that model anymore, and they don't make the 6-wheel truck, the Hercules, anymore. But they got this new car called the Bat. It's like a sedan that looks like miniaturized Rizvani tank, but it looks like a Batmobile is what it looks like. So it's really cool looking.
Yeah, the video I saw, I was really impressed, because they actually took real rounds and they shot that thing, and it was like you couldn't even tell it got shot.
So many years ago, I worked for Mercedes-Benz in their parts warehouse, and next door we had a vehicle prep center. So when the cars would come in from Germany, that's where they would go to, and they would get all the, like if the driver wanted, certain rims on the car, or the radios and all that stuff. And then they got this an S-Class Mercedes, because we had a small company called MB Guard, and these were the guys that armored Mercedes up.
Yeah.
And so what they had is they had a display model of one where they had it set up, and it was just riddled with bullet holes. Where they took it and they just shot it, and like the windshield had just basically just melted into a solid piece of plastic, with no penetration to the inside of the car itself. And they said their biggest the biggest market for armored Mercedes was South America.
Cool.
And I said I could see that. I could see that, but and they would only do the S-Class because that was the bigger car, and it could handle the suspension, could handle the weight of all that armor on there. So, but it was pretty impressive. Yeah, that there's all that they. I mean, over no penetration into the cabin of the car was pretty cool. So, with that, so have you got anything new lately, or what what you've been?
Let me grab. Blanca and Sagat.
Okay, yeah,
from Street Fighter, which are awesome. I got Cyclops and Jean.
Okay, so you're going for the the original X Factor,
probably
group.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to go full into it, but I definitely wanted Cyclops and Jean.
Yeah,
and then I got Heavy Duty.
Yeah, everybody's getting that Heavy Duty.
This is freaking awesome.
His setup looks cool. It's better than what he had in the original run, that weird shoulder thing. But to me, Heavy Duty was always the knockoff Roadblock. That's kind of how I viewed it when I was growing up, when they finally got to Heavy Duty, that they needed.
He was a knockoff Roadblock for the longest time. Yeah, he really was, and I didn't like that they did that to him. You know, because I did see him as very distinct from Roadblock.
Yeah, and they kind of used him like that in the first movie because they wanted to get because they were going for a more international flair, so they did that, which wasn't too bad, but that gear setup that he's got, me, it's like I'm just looking at it, my knees start aching just looking at that. I can just picture him, when he retires and the Veterans Affairs office denies his his bad knees. No, it's not service connected.
What the hell were you carrying in the battle?
Could you do like I'm not good with the video stuff. Could you do like a VA claims officer Hordak rejecting his claims at the
Oh, you just gave me an idea. I'm probably going to do that.
Yeah, go ahead. You have full permission. Run with it. I'm an idea guy, Robert. That's what I do. That's I put the ideas out there and let the universe do what they will with them. So,
sure.
But one thing, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I always saw a Heavy Duty as kind of a walking tank.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked. I mean, I was much older when Heavy Duty came out. He came out in 91, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, this is a cool addition. It's like this walking tank dude. Yeah, I love it. So
yeah, so in 91, so I was already in the Marine Corps. I was in my first year.
Did I freeze?
And no, you're good. So 91 was my first year in the Marine Corps. So but and that line that year was kind of you could tell it was just starting to run out of, like, that was kind of like 91, I think, was probably the last good line before the decline, I think. So
yeah, I mean,
but it gave my favorite was the Crimson Guard Immortal, because I'm a big
that was a good one too.
And then
I love that one.
And Red Star, because for years I'd wanted October Guard figures, and they hadn't given us one. So
yeah, I was I had skipped a couple of years and went back to college at that point, and I was like still buying GI Joes. So
yeah. Well, with that Heavy Duty, and knowing Hasbro, they'd probably cheap out and reuse that. But I would like to see an updated fast draw in classifieds.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that was the original walking missile turret.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's a great one. I mean, I don't know what classified's going to do next because Yojo June seemed to be a clown car ride.
Yeah, we haven't. I think it was all of that. The thing with the cop, and I just don't get that because you listen. The people that would complain about a cop figure are the people that aren't buying your product and never will buy your product. So you're not losing any money.
I didn't hear any heat about that. It was like there was just nothing. It was just like, okay, it's a toy, and then all of a sudden, well, part of it is Hasbro's not communicating.
Yeah,
so we don't know what the hell they're doing and why. I mean, we have to kind of guess, but it could be something else. I mean, we don't know.
Yeah. Stay safe, Lou. We had some storms over here in Florida today. Yeah, and really? that's a problem. Yeah, it's. I don't think they understand that communication goes a long way and earns you a lot of margin with your customers. So that like that's like one thing, like I said, I'm probably as close to a Valor shill as people could get, for
same,
but and a lot of that is because that, if there's a problem or a delay or something, they communicate it that it's happening and then it has a solution for it. Yeah. And so what's going to happen at some point, if something really goes screwy, then I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt because they've been honest with me up to this point. Yeah. So you bought some of that margin with me.
The other side of it is that, PR 101, make up a good lie. I mean, with all the craziness that's going on with shipping and manufacturing, they could have said something to do with China and it has nothing to do with anything else. And nobody would have thought. I mean, I bet there would have been like 4 or 5 people going, "Oh no, it's about the cop. It's about the cop." But nobody would have, it's like, that's not what they're saying.
Well, if it wasn't about the cop, it was very suspicious that, when it was scheduled for during and that all that stuff flared up but you put everything out on pre-order anyway, except for that one thing.
Right.
Exactly. And that whole figure is 95% reuse.
Yep.
I think the only new items I saw was the hat and the coffee cup and the shotgun.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else came with Mutt and Law and all that stuff. And the head sculpts, I think, were probably, were just retools of the stuff they did for the 60th line. I mean, even the poncho was just the black poncho that came with the 60th Army set.
I didn't even, I didn't even pay close enough attention to realize that.
Yeah. So, so the, so to me that's like, and that's like one of the times where that's like with the 95% reuse for a figure that, people will buy multiples of, and that we're very excited for that figure to come out. So that was basically them printing money.
Yeah.
And to not put it out for pre-order was just kind of weird.
And I don't think I knew a single person that was not kind of pumped for that figure.
Yeah. And I'm over on Hasbro Pulse right now, and I don't even see it on their website. Let me put this up here. Yeah, it's not even on for classifieds, their website. There's the retro bat.
Mm-hmm.
And and I'm starting to warm up to the Striker a little bit. When I first saw it, like I said, it screened chat, like the chat made with the third seed and the like they couldn't decide if they wanted to do a classic Striker or the sand rail that they did in 1/6 scale years ago.
I've been jokingly calling it the World Peacekeeper version.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, no, I have that vehicle somewhere, and I love that vehicle, but at the same time, I'm like going, it's not the Art Striker.
But I do like that they can take that third seat out, so you can. But just wait, and like Gridiron, somebody's going to print out the correct cannon, for the top of it. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah. And then the Marauders, even though we don't have, the Renegades, starting the Slaughters Renegades, even though we don't have all the Marauders yet. And for that, all they got to do is they're releasing the Footloose. You just got to do the repaint for the Footloose and then repaint Mutt.
Right.
And put that back out. I do like this. I'll probably get a couple of these. So I do kind of like the green shirt. The Budo. I had the original figure back then because I liked it because he looked like a tactical samurai. Like if we updated a samurai for, late 80s combat. And that's what Senshi looked like to me from Valorverse. Now they just like leaned way into the samurai portion of it. Where it looks like, like they tried to tactical, but it's like too much samurai gear. Like you almost have a complete second set of gear. It's just all samurai.
I mean, Buddha's a weird character anyway. It's like, I have the original and I have the, it wasn't anniversary one. I think it came in the Retaliation line.
Yeah.
It was. If I'm not mistaken, Bobby worked on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, and it's weird. It's got like really bulky armor and like reindeer horns on the helmet. I like it, but it's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, the original one from the 80s was, it was a sensible combination of samurai armor with modern combat gear. So,
but it was also odd because it seemed so primitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, okay, we're going to have all these guns out here and we're going to have a samurai.
Yeah.
Ninja, you kind of can get away with because we had this mystique about ninjas back then. Samurai, it's kind of like,
Well, at least he's better
equipped. Those are the guys that stand out in the middle of the field.
At least he's better equipped than Quick Kick. So that was Slice and Dice. I
never liked Slice and Dice.
Yeah, I have to admit. This, I'm probably going to get this just so I can. Like, I've got the General Hawk in this version 2, which I really like. That was my favorite version of Hawk until the Pursuit of Cobra line, where they did the Hawk with all the gray gear and all that gear and stuff like that. But I'll probably get this so I can try to complete the original 13.
I may get that for the missile system just to put it with my 3 3/4 inch, just to have a massive missile system.
Yeah. Why would I do the original 13 in classified scale?
Yeah.
And which Clutch has already dashed that hope with them only making 2 vamps. or that ridiculous low number. Yeah, none of that. And then they put the Breaker as a Target exclusive, I think, and he sold out. And but I've got the Breaker from the Ram cycle. So, but I really would like to get the retro carded Breaker. Then the Claw, I'd like it, but I've noticed something with certain things they do. They put a female figure with it. To kind of, which makes me think they're trying to hide that this is a little bit undersized.
Yeah.
So if you got to put your Storm Shadow on it, he might look, the version 1 Storm Shadow on there might look weird or something like that.
Yeah, Major Blood, any male figure you put on that is going to be very bad.
Because didn't they do a female figure for the Ferret, the 4-wheeler?
They did, yeah.
Yeah, I never saw on shelves. Did we just get these? I guess people
weren't those Pulse exclusives?
I don't know.
I thought they were.
I don't remember. They might be. Well, I know the Trouble Bubbles when they came out at Target. I never saw any on the shelves, and then Then they said we went to clearance. I never really saw them at all. But people have like 20 of them sitting in their basements.
Leave Woody out of this.
Then the Major Blood. I like the first one they did, so I don't see where the.
I missed the first one, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I put it on pre-order just because I missed the first one.
Now the Cobra Commander. So this is my favorite version of Cobra Commander.
I like it, but
was
at the same
one?
time, it's like one of those. It's like, do I want it in classified form? And I ultimately decided not.
Yeah, I'm probably am going to get it, even though he's got the head with the snake skin underneath it, because I'm not a cartoon fan. I was more of a comic fan, but I do kind of like how he's got the Serpentor iguana. That's.
I mean,
cool.
I admit I really like the Sunbow cartoon. The Deke cartoon I watch for comedy value.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a funny cartoon because it's so. I don't know. Sunbow was like, yeah, we're for kids, but you can enjoy it. Deke was more like, of course we're for kids. Here's something stupid.
Yeah. Now this Monkey Wrench looks really good.
Monkey Wrench looks awesome.
And I didn't get on the Dreadnought bandwagon with classifieds. I got Zartan and I got Zorana, and I go back and forth every day on Amazon whether to get the Xandar, because I want the Xandar because I want the family. I really like those.
You know, I hate that Xandar. There's something about it, and I've not put my finger on it.
I think for me, it's the vest.
That's part of it.
I think that throws off the look of it for me.
I figured out that is part of it, but there's something else that bothers me about it that I've not put my finger on.
Well, if I get one, I'll probably look at it really close and try to figure it out. But this Monkey Wrench looks amazing. It looks really cool. The Frag Viper, this is a weird one that I never liked it, but for some reason everybody's just all over this figure.
I'm the exact opposite. I really like the original Real American Hero figure. Okay. I thought it was a pretty freaking innovative thing. I don't like the classified version because they made him an android.
Yeah. See, I think the reason why, because at the same time, I think this is also in the 3 3/4 run was the same time the Heat Viper came out.
I have a soft spot for Heat Viper,
and I love that Heat Viper. So yeah, and I think Night Viper came. Night Viper is like one of my favorite.
Night Viper was the same year. Yeah.
So this was kind of like, what the hell is it? You know,
I remember seeing those in the store going, these are crazy, but I love them.
Yeah. It's like, Highlight, who plays that? It's on Miami.
Yeah. I only know Highlight from Miami Vice.
Yeah. This Blowtorch was amazing. I've seen them in person. We had a toy show up this past Sunday, and so there's some people that had some of the Blowtorch.
I do like the muted of the one that, they're going to do a retro card of this, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
People are complaining about it, but I'm like, I like the more muted colors. I think that works.
Yeah, it really does. And yeah, they'll probably do retro carded. I'm going to get the Darklon.
Okay, I'm getting Darklon because he is so ludicrous. And I felt he was a ludicrous figure in the original line too. I just thought he was really weird and stupid and crazy.
See, and the only reason why I'm going to get him is because I'm a big Destro fan. And I'm a big Iron Grenadiers fan, and he's part of that line of figures.
Yeah, he came with the Evader, and I like the Evader. It was like, but when I saw the fig, because if you look at the old catalogs, they don't show Darklon. He's in the vehicle, and you can't see him very clearly. And then when you get the figure, you're like, what the hell is this?
And really in the comics, Larry Hamm I don't think liked them either, because but in the new Energon the Destro miniseries it did, he's actually an okay character in there.
Okay.
Let's see, you got Lou Fraglar's a huge surprise. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. The I think for me, I think because the Frag Viper came out at a good time where a lot of good Cobra figures were coming out around that time. And then Footloose, like I said, I'll probably get him because I've got just about. I'm going to get him because I like having the normal version of the Marauders characters as well.
Right.
So, and I know I get him. Then at some point they're going to put out the Slaughter's Marauder.
I can't remember
version of him
who did the video. I want to say Jerk did. But when you put the helmet on, he no longer looks like Pedro Pascal.
Oh, he was also one of those characters that they did the the original face sculpt was based on somebody that worked at Hasbro or
Right.
something like that too. So,
yep.
That's pretty cool. Then, so I got the 60th anniversary diver figure off of Amazon because it was on sale for cheap, and because I wanted a few pieces off of. Yeah, I wanted a few pieces off of. I've got the torpedo. They did.
Yeah.
And when I was little, Crimson Guard and the eels were my favorite cobras.
Mm-hmm.
Part of it's because I live in Florida, so I go to the beach. I see more beach than snow. So yeah, that was always good. And so I'd gotten the carded eel when it came out because I couldn't get the one that came out in the regular packaging. I couldn't find, but I found like the carded eel, and then I bought. When Abby was selling his classified collection, he had 3 eels, and I bought those off of him as well. So I'll probably get this one too, just because it's more divers, and I kind of like the generic Joe diver, and
I mean, I don't hate them, but I don't feel like I need them.
Yeah. If I don't get it, I'm not going to be upset, or feel like there's a hole in my heart, because of that.
Yeah.
Then there's this. I think people are just starting to get these now.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So this was something that I thought, because I know one of the criticisms of the classified line is that they can't seem to make up their mind. Do they want to do things like exact copies of the way the figures were, or update ideas? Like, I like
this
the retro.
Is at least an update.
Now, I like the retro card because there's certain things like I bought when Rock and Roll came out in the box. I bought Rock and Roll because that to me was like a pretty cool update.
Yeah.
My only disappointment is that they gave him the M60 instead of like a modern 249 or even the 90s M60 Echo, the E3, so the Echo 3, what we called it. And then when they came out with the retro one, I bought that one because that was like the original, and basically it's repainted all green, which that's what I wanted. Didn't put the tattoos on him like he was in the early 80s, because I think Rock and Roll is I think my first G.I. Joe I ever got was Rock and Roll. So so I'd like that. So that was pretty cool. So to me, that would have been a cool starting on. The retro card should probably be closer to the original, and then you have there's no problem having a line like that. You have the retro that's like almost exact duplicates of the original, just up in 6, and then do more updated versions. So for me, this was kind of I know everybody's all ate up with mechs nowadays. So to me, this is probably a smart update to the Snake armor. Even though I like the original Snake armor, it was just an exo suit that you full body suit that you wore.
I thought it looked okay. I just didn't feel like I really wanted it.
Well, I've already determined I will never find it anywhere.
Yeah.
Even if and I'm not a big pre-order guy. So some of this stuff is like, if I find it, then it was meant for me to have type of deal.
Right.
So I'll probably never run into the opportunity to get one of those, but I did like that was a nice modern take where it's all the cues of the original were there. But just with the modern take that now it's a mech that they can sit in, and that all opens up and stuff like that.
Exactly.
I didn't get Mutt in Junkyard when it came out.
I got Mutt in Junkyard only because they were down to, I want to say $15 on Amazon at one point.
Oh, I wish I would have gotten it then.
Yeah, I got them then. I was like, okay, that's a good price.
Yeah. So my local comic shop has one, and it's been sitting there for a while. So I may make a deal with them, because then I know that's going to need a repaint to be because Slaughter Marauders was my favorite sub team out of the Joes. And I always liked Law and Order, but I probably just won't get it, even though I like them having a holster for his for the Uzi. That's that I know some people complained about it, but I think that's a nice touch.
This is another one. I mean, if I see it go on clearance, I will probably grab it, but not before. As much as I mean, I don't hate the animal packs, but I think they're overpriced.
Yeah, that I did. What they want $45 for?
Yeah, and it's like every one of them I've been able to get for under $30. I got the Snake Eyes Timber one. I got the Mutton Junkyard, and I didn't buy Road Pig, for instance, because I just thought he was a way overpacked.
Yeah. Naga Hide with the dreadnoughts with the.
Well, it was like, when they released Buddha, they almost openly admitted that, yeah, we gave him extra stuff to make him deluxe, so you had to pay more.
Man.
Which I hate, and with a passion.
Yeah. So Crystal Ball never really did anything for me as a kid back in the day. I think he got at the most he had like a background appearance in a group shot in the comics.
I talked about this with Toy Gains just on DMs, and I'm like, this figure does nothing for me. I don't know why people are going gaga over it. I mean, like it if you want. I'm not going to tell you not to, but I don't get it. I mean, to me, this is just,
I think like supposedly during the IDW run or something like that, he got some screen time or something like that. But but the only cool thing about the figure for me was that instead of Hama writing his file card, Stephen King wrote the file card.
Yeah,
and these things
that was so Owen could be a sneak peek.
Yeah, and these don't have a file card, so who cares?
Yeah.
So who cares?
Yeah, I mean,
even the retro cards don't have file cards. They have a file card.
They have a sentence.
Yeah, in 12 languages. So
yeah, in 12 languages, but it's a sentence. I can't wait for that retro card Flint.
Yes, yeah.
As bad as that AI art is, I can't wait.
But this looks great. This figure looks way better than the one they came out with, and that stupid. Is it a pump shotgun or a brake shotgun or?
Yeah, and even if they do it again with this one, you know what? I got Valiverse. I can get a shotgun from there. They
made actually the correct Remington shotgun.
Yeah,
for it, so it's good.
I didn't even pay enough attention to the accessories to know that. I just was like, if it's wrong, I can Valiverse it. I don't care.
Yeah. Yes, they did. The pack and everything is great. Adding more hands. I wonder where they got the idea to add more hands.
Where could they have gotten that from?
Yeah,
can't imagine.
Yeah, it just does look really good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I usually like
CoverGirl too. I like it. So I got the one they did, which is closer to the
Joan Riggers one.
Yeah, I mean, I get it's the. That's kind of how the original was, where they just all use that one butt ugly scarlet head, Yeah.
So
the uniform I don't care for, but I'll probably get this and like do a head swap with the original CoverGirl.
I passed on the first one. I'm getting this one just because I think this is so much better. I really like the cap.
Yeah.
I think it's actually just her hair, and you can put it on either face. But I love the cap head.
Well, it's two different heads because there's two different expressions on it.
Right. But I thought this in one live stream is like it's removable hair and you can actually switch them out.
Maybe, but I'll probably take what I'll probably do is I'll probably take this head and put it on the other CoverGirl and put this head on that there.
But I thought this was a good update to CoverGirl, and I was like very happy, and like as soon as it went up on pre-order your Zoic.
Then retrocarded Televiper. I think this is out. This also is out already. Or coming out.
No.
Don't care about this. I mean, I like the cartoon, but I wasn't a big cartoon fan. So, but I think part is it.
I don't hate the bear, but I think that's overpriced.
Yeah, and plus I think I have a suspicion that they're going to do the mass device as a HasLab. That's it.
I've been sitting here thinking,
you're going to need these, but you can't get the figures anymore once you decide those.
Yeah, I've been thinking that too because I kind of complained about it when it came up, and I was like, you're going to have to buy a 2-pack, a Target exclusive, and a Pulse exclusive to get the elements. Man, my brain went blank. I remember they did that with mass device when they did it as a build a thing in the DVD packs.
You got like a 3-pack.
It was like 3 and 4 packs, and it was like you had to buy that and get the part, and then you had to get the elements from different figures, and it was annoying. It was just a weird build-a-figure thing.
And of course, the breaker that sold out everywhere. I guess that's all the dark. So something I don't like about this vest system is I don't like that I can't take them off, without cutting them off.
That is my biggest complaint about classified, period.
And then the system where they say, well, we're going to add pouches so you can customize them. And I found this out when I got the Doc figure.
I need to do a video on the Doc figure.
They don't peg in. I mean, they fall out. It's like a constant. Yep. It's like a constant thing. That'd be cool if it actually worked. I think they started that with the 60th. And this one, I know Grunt has one where it's like the iPhone, mounted. But that thing is fragile, really, really fragile.
Yeah, it is.
It likes to pop off.
It does. I don't have that figure, but I've talked to enough people who own the figure that it does.
Yeah, but like I said, because I want to get the original 13. So
where the hell's Flash?
yeah. And that's one too. It's like you've already got the head sculpt, so you can do Flash and Grand Slam.
Right.
It's the same body. You just paint Flash's pads red and Grand Slam silver,
like they've done so many times.
And they've got the Grunt body. So where's my Zap and where's my Short Fuse? And things that would be so easy for them to do, but then they want to do some wild stuff. So
right.
So I might. So tomorrow, I know they're going to do the live stream. They're going to try to do the live stream from DFW, and and I might have to watch it on replay because it's my son's birthday tomorrow. We're going out to lunch after church. So
how old is he?
He will be 20, I believe. It's my third son. Yeah, my third son. Okay. So so we're going to be out to lunch. So I might be able to have my phone sitting underneath the table.
I'm going to be at my mom's house, but I'm probably going to just pop it up and say, "Mom, shut up. This is Aliverse.
This is important. You know how important this is.
This is the one thing that might be just as important as you.
Yeah. So
just kidding.
So I've been trying to think what I know he says that they're going to reveal the new series 6, and that's an all villains wave.
Apparently, supposedly. The one I think might be in there is Pandora's brother, Shay.
That's one of the ones I'm thinking of too.
Yeah. And then he mentioned it once. It's like every now and again I just have a memory of something Bobby said. It was the actual head of Crimson Shadow.
See, I'm wondering that because to me it seems like because he kind of sort of like the Crimson Shadow's like the new stuff, and I know he seems to be like really focused on that. And like before, it was all the Swarm was that, and we still haven't seen the Swarm leader,
right?
Yeah, so I was wondering if he would have like the Swarm leader in this wave, and then further down the road do the Crimson Dynamics. Shadow's head.
Yeah. Another one I think might be a female Swarm Trooper.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Shay is Shay's going to be in there, and then and that's what I'm kind of hoping that's going to predict because he hasn't really leaked a lot. I know we'll probably see the completed rocket launcher.
Yeah.
I'm betting that's going to be part of that too. And I know he teased Mark 19 grenade launcher.
He did. I forgot about that.
So I don't know if that would be like a standalone or that would be great if it's a standalone weapon but came with like a mount for the Vanguard. would be
nice.
Really cool.
And there might be some other Vanguard upgrades that we don't know about.
Yeah. And I'd like to see
and I keep thinking we're going to see a 3 3/4 inch or 4-inch version of this line.
So that's like my big thing is I've been wondering is like what, because it's, I know it's been like Chad knows because they've been talking and he's been teasing it.
I've been prodding him and he won't tell me nothing.
But also I think it could be, because Bobby says he's been wanting to do World War II figures of Action Force,
and that might be something too.
And he could do that without having to, because the 3 3/4 inch is like a whole new production. Sculpt molds and sculpts and just all kind of logistics around that.
Well, I mean, first Bobby said this is the biggest presentation he's had for Action Force.
Yeah.
He also said he did say 2 lines. So that made me think. And when you first said it, I was like, oh, here comes Street Force. And then I was thinking, no, maybe that World War II line, and then maybe the 3 3/4 line, and that makes sense actually.
Because what I noticed, Weapons Pack Juliet is sold out, and that contained. I don't know.
Did I get the last one?
I don't know if people were getting it because of the magazines that were in there, the Beta Mag and the small round, the drum mag that was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Or if they were buying it up because those 2 World War II rifles.
I bought an extra one of that pack. I do have one, and I did a small order of just some stuff I've been kind of sleeping on. Like I wanted a third Swarm Tracer, and I noticed they were down a little bit. They were on sale a little bit, and like I added that one to the list too. So maybe I got the last one.
So the reason why I hadn't gotten that I only got one of the Juliet, but what I was doing is I bought 2 of the Crimson Shadow Infantry.
I added one of those too.
So I got when they first came out, I got like one of them, and then I got one of these packs, and then I swapped out his gun that he comes with, because it's the same one the Maritime Trooper comes in, but I like the gray on it, so I gave those to my Maritime Troopers, and that's cool. I gave him this rifle with the red magazines, so he's got the same rifles that the Praetorians have, and then I bought a second one, and then the second set of that. As well, so I've got like a bunch of these shields, and then all these other ones, and a whole bunch of the arm blades for it. I couldn't when he did when he put the wraiths, the Praetorian wraiths on the site. I was at a conference.
Oh no!
So I couldn't get onto the website fast enough to buy them before they sold out.
The funny thing about that is like the Kanan made a post about it, and I was like, "Oh, those are up now finally." And I went and got my, I just wanted 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, when they were coming in, I was like, "Oh shit, what if I get a clear one? Now I got to give it to Zakanan." And thankfully I didn't. I just got the regular.
So I never get the exclusive figure when I order them. Like I got I love the Steel Brigade.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a silver-headed one.
Yeah.
And I Army build Steel Brigades.
Figure it down if I grab them.
I Army build Steel Brigades, but only the variants. I have like one of the original, and then the Night Ops one, and then I bought a second Steel Brigade to put the heavy weapon set on, and then another one because they started packing with the commander's helmet. So I have a commander, then the snow one and the desert one, and then this one. But I want to get a couple more because I love this upgraded look to them. But I'm not trying to get the gold head because I know I'd never get that lucky. I never get the bloody Pandora. I never get the bloody bone collector. I bought the Pandora and the bone collector before I never get the bloody. So I knew it would have been my luck if I would have gotten the Praetorian Wraith to get the translucent one, which means I'd had to buy a second, white one, because I just really want that white one really bad, because I've got the regular one, the Elite, and then that one, and of course when he makes those the DFW exclusive one available, I'm going to buy at least one of those.
Yeah,
because that looks great.
Yeah, Chad should have 2 for me. But when I got the mail away Pandora, the white one,
yeah,
I got 2 bloodies, and I ended up trading one of the bloodies for a plain.
Yeah, I just got the plain one. So, and I like the white. I wanted the white version, so I didn't buy the one in the black.
Yeah, I literally just recently bought the black one. Yeah. Like this order that I got coming in Monday has the black one.
So I missed the original Pandora when it came out. But I had a but when he came out with her gear pack with the head, I bought that because I had a black Spec Ops female figure.
Good sub.
So I put all that on it because that's my tactical Pandora, which I think looks a lot better than the original. Right. So I got the white leather, the white leather one. So,
well, yeah, it's kind of funny because I got in with Series 2, and I was able to get some of Series 1. Then Pandora came out. I got Pandora immediately. And then when that gear pack dropped, I bought the second Pandora for the gear pack.
Yeah.
And then the bloody one was also available, so I bought the bloody one, the original bloody one. And I literally only took her out of the box to review her, and then I put her back.
Yeah.
In the box. She's still in the box right over here. Then I got that bloody one, and I was so shocked I got that 2 bloody ones, and then was like, man, but I wanted a plain one.
See, I wish I missed the kill switch one.
Yeah, I got kill switch,
and I got the head packet and did the same thing with a blue female trooper body, and it's just not the same.
That's a good alternative. I like that idea.
It's good, but it just isn't as good to look, especially once, because I like her uniform in the original one, because that would pair very well with Sidewinder.
Yeah,
because those 2 figures will look very good together because they look uniform and stuff like that. So, but I just I missed out on kill switch.
Yeah, I just got lucky with Action Force. It was like I got the special deployment versions of the Series 1s that I missed. So it was like, I pretty well got everything I wanted from Action Force.
Yeah, I did too. I didn't get everything. I think the last this was Series 5. I think I ordered one of everything, which is the first time I've ordered an entire series, except for the Senshi. But I ordered the big bad toy store, the Night Ops Senshi.
Night Ops one.
So I've got her with him with the Warpath Eclipse, and then the night operations Steel Brigade guy.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey,
Father-Son Galaxy
here.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
people stroll in. Everybody didn't know. Like I said, you can't push this stuff. You put on Facebook and Instagram, but you don't get a lot of elevation on it. So.
Yeah. I only knew about it. I forget which live stream you talked about it.
Yeah, well, it might be because I think I promoted on Obbies. I'm a regular on the Tuesday night show, and then like I only do my live stream once a month. And
I swear it's like every Tuesday. When I get done with my day, it's like 9:30, and I'm like, oh, I'm drained, and I do not want to sound like a total jackass right now. So I just kind of pop in and go, hey. And then it's like, I told Abby too, I'm like, man, I just don't want to crash the party because I'm in such a grumpy mood.
Yeah. Oh, it is kind of a free for all, and you got to learn to, if you're tired and you're drained and your brain doesn't engage to be quick enough to pop it, get in when there's a lull or when somebody says something to say, pithy comment or something like that. So I need to get back to really working on, so I only do the live stream once a month, but I really need to get back. I've got a stack of things I want to film. Then, but I'm like, I got this Skyhawk project that I'm working on.
Oh yeah.
And basically what that is the, the Skyhawk, the little, so I always loved that toy as a kid because it was one of those things that was because it was early in the line. I think it was like the second, the 84 lines when that came out.
I think the Skyhawk is the last original ARAH vehicle I got.
Yeah, and so what was so cool about that, it was that promise that G.I. Joe kind of came out with, like this, like all of our weapons and vehicles are kind of like the next stage. So there's like the Dragonfly was basically a Huey Cobra that had extra stuff on it and things like that, and so that was really cool. So that was kind of like the last, because that came from the design came from like back in the 50s and 60s when they were doing a lot of experimentation with aircraft and stuff like that, and they were working on VTOL, and they wanted like little scout things and stuff like that. So that's kind of like like a modern realization that even though, as I got older, I realized there's no way in the world that thing could fly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, just the power, just the fuel alone that it would take.
I mean, you're even watching the cartoon, it's clunky.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, you got to suspend some disbelief there.
But it always fascinated me. So as I got older, I didn't have it, but I bought, when I got older, though, I bought one off a friend of mine that was selling his Joe stuff. And that thing was pretty fragile, so I never had a really good one. So a couple of years back, I found in a toy shop the Sky Patrol version of it.
I do have that one.
With all silver and no stickers had ever been applied to it. Didn't even have the stickers.
Yeah.
So I bought it, and then I was like, man, I would really like to get it. And then around that time too, they came out with a completely updated version in the post 25th Pursuit of Cobra.
Not even been Retaliation.
Called the Ghost Hawk.
Yeah,
which was like a completely.
I hated that.
Well, I like that one. I didn't like the one from the movie, not from the movie, but the this one. I got it up here. So
okay.
So this was like a really good updated.
Okay, that's the better one.
Yeah. So, so I said, well, so I began to look at it.
Thinking of it had a weird canopy.
It was the one from Retaliation, the Ghost Hawk, where it had it looked a little more like an airplane that flipped up, and they had the orange missiles and weird. So I began to think, I was like, because part of the thing, and the reason I call myself headcanon is because I try to think of ways to make things fit within the universe that it is, of why it works. So this is how my headcanon works. So I said, well, what if I could try to quit? Because I began to look, and then it's like, okay, there's only a few variants of this where they've reproduced it over the years. Could I make some sort of logical progression sense from that first 1984 Skyhawk to the Ghost Hawk? With my background, because I came out, so I have a background. So when I was in the Marine Corps, I worked in the aviation side of the house. So I've got like all that. So I began to search all the different variants of the Skyhawk, and so far I've been able to obtain the an original in good shape, nothing broken on it. I mean, there's a slight for those older versions. The engines always begin to rotate backwards because that, and most of the times there's the side things are missing, missiles are missing, and the skids break, or a lot of in the canopy. But I found one in very good condition with good stickers. The only thing I had to do is I had to source the missiles, which were fairly easy to find online with that. And then I got the and I already had the Sky Patrol one. I just had to get the missiles for that, and I haven't played, so I went to Toy Hacks. So I got the decals for that to put on. So I got to do that. And then
like it.
Then in 2009 they came out with, they called it the Ghost Hawk, but it was the updated version of the Skyhawk where they changed the skids and put a glass canopy on the beefier skids. And then in the 50th anniversary, they did an Arctic version of the same.
I was just looking at that today, and I almost bought one on eBay, and then I just changed. I said wait till next week, next payday, because just got a couple of bills coming out this week.
Yeah. So the only ones I'm missing two of the variants. I'm missing the 2005 convention Steel Brigade Skyhawk. That's where they used the same original Skyhawk mold, and they molded it in this these gray marble swirly plastic,
right?
And it didn't have the guns underneath it.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2015, they did a Steel Brigade version of the Ghost Hawk, the last one, the really good version of it.
Yeah.
So that's what I need. So what I've done is I've kind of come up with this idea, and I'm putting together a presentation. I'm going to take photos of all this, but I went and I looked at in the 70s, the Department of Defense went through, because like Air Force had their own way of numbering aircraft, Marine Corps had their Navy and all. So they went and they did like a unified version of everything. So and what I noticed is there was so you've got like going up to F-15, F-16, then it jumps to F-18, because the 17 was for another thing, but they also had a designation saved for an Army VTOL project, VTOL, and it was designated V-17 because V is for vertical takeoff aircraft. And so I was like, and it was like in the late 70s, 80s is when this was, there was nothing ever produced. It was reserved for an Army VTOL project. So I was like going, my God, that's the Skyhawk. That's where it fits in.
There you go.
So I designated the MV-17 because an M in the beginning of it. So the V stands for VTOL. And that's its primary. Like F is for fighter, B is for bomber, C is for cargo. And then if they put a letter in front of it, that's its secondary mode. So normally special missions purpose aircraft would be like if you had like for helicopters, you have the an H-53, the big Sea Stallions. For the Navy, they call them SH-53s because they're modified for specifically for carrier duty. The Marine Corps uses a CH-50, so it's a cargo helicopter. So M is reserved for special operations.
Right.
So I said, okay, well, I'll call this thing the MV-17, and so as I was looking at things like this, I wanted to make sure that each variant, there had to be a reason why it would become something like the production model of the Skyhawk would be the MV-17A. That would be what you saw in the comics and in cartoons and stuff like that. So then to go to a B model, there would have to be a significant variation. And so just like a different colored plastic, because they did the mail away versions of it. Then there was like one for the Japanese market and one for the South American market. So to me, those would still all be the A model. We would just export those out of the country. and if it's just like a slight color variation, that's not going to make it. But the Sky Patrol one has enough because it's like, it's got the special coating on it, and they even in the blueprints made a few changes to some of the specifications on it. So in my brain, okay, that would be the B variant, the Sky Patrol one. And then because of the modifications they made for the convention one, that would be the C variant. And then when you go to the modern one in 2009, that would be your D, and then the winter one would be an E variant. And then for the new one, it's kind of like, because there's improvements in everything. You can tell that, like especially in the landing gear and all that stuff. And then going to the Ghost Hawk model, I think I designated like MV27 because to me that was an entirely new designed airframe off of the old one. So I'm trying to get on the other and do it kind of like if you ever watch, there's a YouTube channel called there's like these warplanes things. So I'm trying to do it kind of like in a documentary style.
Oh, cool.
Presentation as if this was a real vehicle. You know, these are the variants, and this is kind of the history of how we got there. And
I like that format.
I think I like even had it. I think I even designated that the Skyhawk was originally made by BlackRock Aerospace, which is a Transformers reference.
Yeah.
And that in the request for proposal, it was only two companies that bidded. One was Mars Industries, and they submitted the Fang, and BlackRock submitted the Skyhawk. And
exactly. Yeah.
And then had to do it. And then I would have to do a reason why it would, each one would jump to the next one. But I need to get. But I need to get that. I have them looking. I got some people hunting for it at DFW for at least the 2005 convention one. If not, then I'm going to have to go to eBay, and I don't want to pay eBay prices for those. I think I've seen the lowest was like $60 right now on that. Ooh. And I'm not wanting to. I may have to buy the bullet. And then I've pretty much given up on the 17 Steel Brigade variant because those are like several $100s for.
Yeah, there's some of that
because that was towards the. I think that was because that was like towards the end of it, and they weren't producing like they produced like tons of that one for the 05 convention. Right. I think they weren't doing as much because they knew that. I think because they knew the writing was on the wall that was getting ready to get taken, which is so sad because I got to go to a couple of those conventions and just had a blast at them.
Yeah, those I mean, those conventions were fun, but there was some writing on the wall.
Yeah.
And a lot of it just centered around, I'm just going to say it, mismanagement.
Yeah.
Not paying people, as I heard a funny story today about Chad Stream was talking about this guy got paid in figures. And he's like, that doesn't give me food.
Yeah.
Let's put them on eBay.
And now you can sell those figures and they're worth enough to get your food. But back then, But and also, I think they were doing a lot of things, but they really did a lot to keep the brand alive during the during the dark times and even during the good times. They did a lot of
I had my issues with them though, but still, I did do that.
Like I said, I only ever went. I went twice. They had them because we were living in Orlando at the time, and so I went to the 04 one.
I remember that one vividly. I actually did get the exclusive from that one.
I did too. The Dreadnought.
Yeah.
So we probably
ended up selling it, but
Yeah, I ended up selling a few years later. That's pretty amazing. We were both there and didn't know it. You just never know. Right. But I was real big into the 1/6 scale at that time.
Okay.
So we had a 1/6 scale online group that we did, and so I really liked it, but I still was doing the 3 3/4 inch, as well. But I was like,
lately I want to do an adventure team, and I'm just not. I want to do it my own way, though.
Yeah.
And I've not outlined it at all. It's like all I have. I know I have a jungle trooper. That's all I got.
See, I always thought that would be good for them to like start focusing on the characters, the post Valor and Venom characters.
Oh yeah,
kind of focus on those. Like the bomb strike and barrel roll and depth charge, like all those.
The skulls, yeah,
and then take the original type characters and redo them as adventure team, and then build like and so you have some of those for us people that can't seem to not buy the stuff, but do it because they had like Hasbro has like an Imagine X style line for kids, and where you could build like the Mummy's Tomb and the all those old adventure team style vehicles and packs for kids to kind of start hooking the kids back into this line, but using like Stalker and Snake Eyes and but as an adventure team style, we're going around the world.
Not a terrible idea, which is probably why it will never happen.
Yeah. exactly.
I don't mean to be an asshole, but come on. I mean,
it's
yeah, no, right? I mean, they let off Ryan Ting when I was really shocked by that.
Yeah, that was shocking. So.
Yeah, and I don't know. I've heard some rumblings that they've laid off some people in the Joe team that would really surprise you, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't have any confirmation on anything. Yeah. So it's like, I'm kind of sitting here going, what are we going to see Monday? And what are we going to see at SDCC? And
yeah, I'm about at the end of my Legends fascination anyway. So
I am too. I mean, there's a couple on the leak list. I'm like going, okay, I might get that character just because I don't have that one.
Yeah.
But there's not a whole lot.
I just have like, I think I've got one team I really want to finish that I hope they'll do the last 2 figures I need for that one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the Outback era X-Men. Because the X-Men is kind of one of those things that, for me, depending upon when you came into X-Men, that's your team type of deal.
See, so my teams are always, like, I always fancied myself a comic writer.
Yeah.
So I had my own teams.
Yeah.
And, like, if I stop now, I've got my teams. So
yeah.
It's not a huge thing to me. It's like, okay, maybe there's a version of Jean, and, like, I want the Jean in the red and yellow.
Yeah.
The red and yellow X Factor costume.
Yeah.
That she wore later. I would like that figure, but, I'm not going to, like, beg for it or bank on it or anything like that. And, there's a few alternate costumes I would like, but, at the same time, it's like, I'm not as beholden to the specific eras, although I know those eras and like those eras. Because I submitted like something like, back in the day, you could submit stories to Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I submitted like maybe 50, 60 stories to Marvel.
Wow.
Yeah, and they bought one and they never did anything with it. I don't know what it was like. Maybe they thought, oh, if we pay this guy, maybe he'll shut up and he'll give me $100. And
well, that's how. Yeah, that's a lot of people. Like I said, everybody likes to hate on Jim Shooter. But he had the impossible task of making a bunch of hippies get work done on time.
Right.
And so he would buy stories and have them drawn up and printed up. And if you couldn't make your deadline, then that's what he would run.
Yeah. This was shortly after Shooter.
Yeah. That's when it started. I wrote a comic and had plotted out the first 25 issues. And I was going to submit it to Dark Horse because back in the 90s, Dark Horse only accepted new proposals because they were heavy into the licensing.
I had a couple of Dark Horse too, but they never came. Yeah, they didn't like my stuff.
Well, I chickened out and I never sent it in.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, but I'd scripted it out and did everything, and I just and I
funny part was that story I got money for was like my 5th story I submitted to him. So that's why I had submitted 50 and 60. I was like, if you like one, let me give you more.
Yeah.
And I never got anything back on any of the others.
Yeah. So that's but for the X-Men, like the Outback X-Men, because that's kind of because I used to just read G.I. Joe and Transformers and occasional Spider-Man and stuff like that. And then in I think it was 10th grade, somebody was reading an X-Men comic, and it was just when they'd gotten into the Outback. It was after the Fall of the Mutants. And I was like, and just before Inferno. So I started reading, I was like, so yeah, this is pretty cool. And then Inferno came out, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is I've always wanted to get the Outback X-Men team. And the only thing we need that armored Psylocke, which, and then a shirtless Colossus. That's
exactly
the only thing I need from that, because they've made all the other ones. I've got a Dazzler, and I've got a Long Shot and Storm, and a good Wolverine for that, and that Havoc they did with the Bone Crusher wave. Love that Havoc with the really nice effects on it. And then I got like, and I did it too in the New Warriors. They need to come out with how Namorita look
team, and everybody be kind of in the same team. Because the team they've got now, it's like, you got the team, but it's like mixed match. You got the later Namorita with the earlier Justice. It's like it doesn't work. And see, it's funny you mentioned that. I always point out to people, I'm the exact opposite on the. Everybody says I read G.I. Joe and then I got me into other comics, and it's like I'm the exact opposite. I was reading other comics, and then it actually prevented me from enjoying G.I. Joe because it was like the first. I can't remember my first comic. I know comics taught me to read.
Yeah,
I can tell you that much. Okay, but it was like I picked up the first couple of issues of G.I. Joe, and I'm like going, "This is Nick Fury and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D." Before I even knew that, it was supposed to be what it was. I literally was like, this is just Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not enjoying this. And so I put it down. And then like the next, I can't remember why I picked it up again. And it was like, it was Dreadnoks. And I'm like going, this is just a wrecking crew.
Yeah.
And I threw it down like I didn't do it again. And then the next one was the origin of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow. And I'm like, this is Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu. And I threw it down and didn't read it again. And I can't remember. I think it was the Cobra Civil War. I finally picked up on it and finally started reading it. And it was like, okay, this is cool. This is very cool. But it was like, it was several tries before I really got into it. I was very into the G.I. Joe, the toy line. But it was like the comic, I was just like, every time I picked it up, I was like, if you hadn't read comics before that, you didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Hamill was stealing, but there was inspiration.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like a whole lot of new stuff anyway. Like,
right.
Especially those first 10 issues when you look at it and it's like you can tell it was like, every month it was like, is this thing going to get picked up for another month?
Right.
So it doesn't until issue 11 to when the thing hits its groove.
Right.
So
I feel the same way. I think when I finally broke down and read the whole thing, issue 11 was where I thought it started hitting its groove.
Yeah, and then that was my first. Where I think Judge was like my first comic. That was the first serialized where every month I got the issue. Mm-hmm. So before then, like I started reading comics that was like in 5th grade, and the reason why is my elementary school teacher, my 5th grade teacher, he in our little classroom library, he had a ton of comic books, and they were all the ones with the covers for most of them were the covers removed, which is back in the day, that's how the stuff 3 months on the circle rack didn't sell, the store would take it, rip the covers off for it. And so they got the money to throw those out.
My early comics came from that kind of practice.
Yeah. So he had a lot of stuff from so this was 5th grade. So this was gosh, I was born in 72. 5th grade. So this is like very early 80s. So it's a lot of a lot of 70s comics. Like I read, he had the first, and it was the one with the cover ripped off of the Jackal, the first Spider clone, where he was the opposite, the red and the colors were switched on it. Yeah,
Webman.
Webman, and then a lot of DC stuff, that was in there, and so I read the stories and like Spider-Man a little bit, and then occasionally somebody on the street during Halloween would give out comic books instead of candy, and so I got like so one year I got like the Spider-Man that introduced the Hobgoblin with it.
So that's the house I would have visited more.
And the Hobgoblin, he's my favorite Spider-Man villain.
Okay.
And I think a lot of because that was because flipping through that book, he doesn't show up till the very end of the book. He's in the shadows when they find this guy finds a Green Goblin lair and with all the gear, sells it to this guy.
Great intro. Yes.
And then, but you flip that last page, and it was a splash page of him on that Goblin glider with the whole, and it's like whoa. But it was Judge is like the first one I really got into where it's like, oh, this thing happens every month and the story continues every month.
Right.
Type of deal. Then from there it was, And then when I went to the late high school, and then when I went to the military, if you weren't working out and drinking, you had to have some sort of hobbies. And so every Thursday they put new comics in the spinner rack at the PX. So I got all that stuff, and then like going back to team building, I team built 2 Marvel Legends of my own. Like I've done, I liked. I'm a big Iron Man fan.
Yeah, me too.
So I've got so my goal
Iron Man may have been the first comic I ever owned. I'm not positive on that. It's like, the one I have, it's like Iron Man versus the Red Ghost and the Super Apes of all things. It's from 1973, which is, I would have been 2.
Yeah.
I don't know where that comic came from, but I've had it forever. I know I've read it when I was very young. So it's like, it's confusing to me, but I always loved Iron Man anyway. So,
yeah. And then, so in the early 90s, so I joined the Marine Corps in 1990. And then that was during Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And then 92, 91, I think, 91, they did the Operation Galactic Storm across all the Avengers titles. And that was 19 parts in different books that had to be coordinated, and the writers had to, which I don't think they could pull anything off that big nowadays without it being a mess, because I know they're constantly doing these event books, but just how the story had to flow between each one, but also address what was going on in the book.
Right.
So that was just an amazing.
And then when it went to like Quasar, it had to Quasar's a star. He's the center of attention. You can't have Captain America ordering him around.
And then bringing in the the Kree Empire with the all that history, and then the tying into the Shi'ar from the X-Men. So it's kind of a cool thing. So I've kind of built out with Legends. I've built I'm trying to get all 13, the original 13 Iron Man suits, a Legends figure for each one. And the only ones they haven't done some sort of version of is the Hydro armor, and I think the two space armors that they did.
I wonder if that rumored Iron Man gray armor might be one of the space armors.
See, I don't know. But my feeling is that when they finally get around to Maximum Iron Man, it's just going to be the Silver Centurion again with extra parts.
Probably, yeah.
But that's okay. Yeah. But
I don't hold my breath. I don't hold my breath on the Maximum series. I'm like going, okay, what do we get? Oh, yeah, never mind.
Because then when they put out the modular armor, which is the Model 13, and then they finally did the Hulkbuster, which used to be its own armor. They retconned as it because it's part of the modular system. So. So I've got all that part, and then and War Machine is actually, I like Iron Man, but War Machine is my downright favorite of all time. So I got all the MCU armors for him, stuff like that. But what I did with the Iron Man is I wanted to when they did the whole thing where they went to when they had that war on Genosha with the Avengers and Magneto.
Oh yeah,
and they come back from that, and the Avengers have this big meeting, and they're voting to disband the Avengers West Coast. And Iron Man's the deciding vote, and he votes to disband the Avengers West Coast. And Hawkeye gets mad, he leaves, but then he goes, "Well, the reason why I did that is because I want to start my own group called Forceworks, because we're not going to wait to avenge. We're going to be proactive."
That was a rough book.
Yeah, that was, but I love the concept. So what I've done is I've taken a lot of the 90s Avengers, and I've built like I've got like the core team, like Scarlet Witch and Iron Man and War Machine and Black Canary and a lot of that original team, and then added so I said, well, it's missing your Avengers staple trope. So I took Jocasta that they did, and it's okay, that's my vision for this group, and Thunderstrike, that's my Thor for this group because I like the 90s. They did some cool stuff. Like they knew how to introduce characters.
They did cool stuff, yeah,
to replace them. But it's like the guy, like when they tried replacing Thor with Jane Foster and call her Thor. It's like, no, that's not. Even when the time they replaced Thor, guys.
Okay, that storyline taken out of what was going on in Marvel at the time.
Yeah,
I did like it. If you just ignore everything else that was going on,
yeah,
because that it was very clearly, they're trying to replace Thor with a woman, but because its story in and of itself I thought it was really good.
Yeah,
it was like one of the few that really won me over of that era.
Well, the one thing I liked about Thunderstrike was that when he was actually being Thor, because he replaced it, he knew he was an imposter, and he was just trying to. And they kept calling because they all thought he was Thor, and he's like, but I got to keep up the, you had to keep up the charade type of deal. So and for me in that new era of stuff, and really I didn't mind the Sam Wilson as Captain America. Because to me at the time, that was the only one that made sense. That why wouldn't he be? He's trained with them. He's fought beside them. They have that history together. I didn't care for the return of Bucky and making him Captain America. So why would you do that? The guy was brainwashed.
Right.
It's like, so why wouldn't you hand the mantle off to somebody who is trained for him? So
right, dude. I've got a storm coming through, and I think I'm losing internet.
Okay.
So
So I appreciate it. Oh, but one thing I do want to say, to continue that thought, and then I'll pop off which I think I lost the thought. Oh well, never mind. It'll come back at some point. But I appreciate you hopping on. This was an hour and a half in, and we had some people here. I usually get a lot of watches on the replay because I know like most of the people,
right?
It's the main guys are gone. The main people that would normally show up in the chat, are down there, and I know they're probably partying right now. They do the Saturday night get together.
And hey, I've been wanting to connect with you for a while, so it was a real fun moment to do so. But like I said, I think my internet's about to go out, so I'm going to pop off here.
Well, I tell you what. So like I said, I schedule once a month. August, September. Would you mind being? I'll put the invitation in September.
Sure.
Being my guest on my main show because I've been wanting to really talk to you and get you talk that. So I'll go ahead and I'll pencil you in. I'll send you. Like I said, usually that third Monday, it's 9:00. I know there's the big Jerking Gain show that goes on, but they get 2 days a week, every week. Give me give me an hour and a half on a Monday. One Monday. So, but yeah, cool. So I'll pencil.
Reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
We'll do. Yeah, I'll send the information about you. I appreciate you coming on. And,
hey, no problem.
Yep. And as you're taking off, I think those that showed up in the chat tonight, with HGC, here, let's see who else is all the, Lou coming in, K-Dog. Like I said, and those of you who will catch up on the replay, I know some of you guys will watch on the replay, do all the YouTube things, and hopefully Monday we'll be back to everybody's regularly scheduled programming. So y'all have a good night.
Take care, man.